What is going on, everyone? This is Tom with another Toy Ramble, and today I'm going to be taking a look at the Metatravelers Legendari Kickstarter exclusive Gatekeeper. If you're not familiar with Metatravelers, they appeared with a amazing looking Kickstarter back in, I believe, 2023, I think around October or so, and the toy line right off the bat looked incredible. Unfortunately, I was not able to go all in as I really would like to have because of their lineup of, say, I want to say almost like 15, 16 some odd characters. I wanted to make sure that I got this one, because this was the Kickstarter exclusive. Who knows if they were going to re-release him or do some variation of him, but wanted to make sure I at least got one, and the one that I got was the Gatekeeper, and he looks amazing. They went through all the manufacturing process and all that fun stuff, so we now have them in hand. You can order them off of Big Bad Toy Store. You can find them on Toy Stalker. You can go to the Metatravelers website themselves and get a hold of him, and he looks great. So as you may or may not know, Metatravelers was started by Marco Pazavec and Jeremy McKeon. I apologize for butchering your names. I do not mean any harm by it. Also, these are sculpted in collaboration with the Four Horsemen, so that absolutely explains why these look so incredibly good. They also have a comic that's written by Andy Lanning, and it's got artwork by Ant Williams, so if you want to get more involved in the lore and take a look at what they have going on, go to the website. You can order the comic on their website. So, without further ado, let's take a look at the really cool looking box art. You've got the showing off the figure on the back. You can go to the website. They have a full-on website where you can look at the bio. You can shop the shop. You can get accessories and weapons and all that fun stuff. So let's get him out of here and take a look. And a noticeable lack of twisted ties. Thumbs up. And there we have it. So the Gatekeeper is free of his prison, and he looks amazing. Look at all of the detailing on this guy. I love this. Was one of those Kickstarters that I really wish that I could have gone full on in on, because the detailing is incredible. Yeah, like I said, they worked in collaboration with the Four Horsemen, so I expect nothing less than amazing work. But just looking at all the detailing that went into these figures, like the characters look so unique, and they have a really extensive parts library, and there's repeating parts across the line, across the figure. So you get a look at the lineup, you'll start noticing certain bits and pieces repeat, but the way that they handle the coloring and the layout of the parts makes them all look like unique characters. They all look really cool. They have, unfortunately, I'm not familiar with the lore because I have not read the comic, which I do intend to get at some point, but they're just really cool looking figures, and that is what draws me into a line. They just look really, really good. It is kind of funny to me. You can tell who worked on some of these figures now. There are certain telltale signs of who did what. What always stands out to me is the way that the Four Horsemen handle their shoulder pads, or the shoulder pauldrons, and they have this really effective way of designing the pad, getting it to plug into the back, and that way it's also removable. So if you just want to have them with the single pad, then you can, and it still looks great. But if you want to put it back on, you can, and it still looks really good. I am really enjoying these. So the only thing that I did notice pulling him out of the package is that mine is missing the armor for his left leg. It came with an additional piece here, but I believe that is the forearm armor. So I may have to get in touch with Metatravelers and see if maybe I can get a replacement part. You can see where it's supposed to plug in. It clearly goes right here, but with assembly, these things happen. This is a series that takes place in space. You've got he's got that really cool, brooding, kind of dark, mysterious look going for him, and everything that is on him, all of the detailing. So let's think just right away. The cross section here, I don't know what the symbol means, but it's a very nice setup. I kind of wonder what this is. I don't know what that does. I'm not familiar with the lore. I love the detailing on the body. There are other characters that has this kind of broken up magma look to the body that looks really good. Him, it's gray and black. On others, it's red and gray. There's another one that I think is blue and gray, but it looks really good. And the way that the shoulder armor is designed looks really good. There's so much great extra detailing on these. I really think it helps bring out the best in this figure. The skirt piece here, this waist armor looks really good. You've got your Rob Liefeld pouches going on there. You've got his extra knives, and of course I kind of wish that these were all individual knives that you could pull out and then put back into these holdings, but it's a sculpted detail that still looks really good on this figure. The detailing on the forearm armor is really good. Be aware that if you're going to be fiddling around with these have a tendency to pop off. So, just be aware. They plug back in just fine. If you're going to be doing a lot of extensive moving around of your figure for posing and whatnot, just be aware that might be a thing you encounter. I also noticed that on mine, the wraparound armor, particularly in the back, has there's a section here where this section plugs into this. And as I'm moving him around, that sometimes has a tendency to pop out. So that could cause a little bit of frustration if you're doing a lot of posing, but it plugs back in just fine. It seems to hold pretty well as long as you're aware that it is a thing that may happen. Same thing on this side. This tends to pop out, but it pops right back in. So just be aware. But it also lets you know that this can come off. So if you wanted to take this armor off of your figure, you can do that. You can see that you've got the little plugs here with the little L on there, so you know exactly which arm it's supposed to go on. So you've got the left arm, the right arm. This can pop off, and he actually doesn't look that bad without it. If you popped off the shoulder pauldrons and you just had him hanging out just as an armorless guy, he still looks really cool. The armor only adds to him, which is very impressive. If you were to pick up multiple characters, which I do highly recommend, they are a little bit pricey. They're a little bit on the higher end of price, but they're I feel like they're worth it. The amount of detailing and how intricately designed they are, the articulation looks really good. I feel like they're worth every penny if you can do that. But the swappability of the pieces, I don't know how easy limb swapping would be. I don't think I'll be pulling on any of his limbs anytime soon, but it looks like the armor is probably very swappable, and you could probably get some really interesting combinations if you had multiple characters and you wanted to mess around with that. So Gatekeeper stands at about, it's a little under 7, so he'll fit in with your 7-inch figures. I think part of what I am enjoying about this figure is kind of not knowing all that much about him, trying to figure out like what the point of certain things are, like who this character is, why his skin looks like this, does he just exist out in the cosmos, what's his head look like under here, is this a breathing apparatus, who knows, I don't know. And I kind of like not knowing, because this character seems like a nice mysterious creature that nobody really wants to get all that close to, but he needs to be around for the betterment of the cosmos. So let's get into his accessories. The Gatekeeper comes with, mine came with an extra bit of armor, but I don't think yours is supposed to. He has this really cool looking weapon, kind of part saw blade, part lever blade. I thought this was text. I'm not sure if this is supposed to be alien text. It might be. You've got those weapons where there is text written on their weapons, so it could be that. He also comes with a few different hands. He's got his kind of the open grabby hand. He's got more of a full-on backhand slappy hand, and of course your weapon holding hand, which I believe mine is going to need because he'll look really cool holding this weapon. And that is a relief. Swapping out the hands is very easy. The plastic feels good. There's no issue popping this out. Sometimes I know that the plastic on the peg can feel a little bit brittle. So there is that worry of swapping things out and accidentally snapping something off. But that is not the case with this guy. So I'm going to remove his forearm armor because I'm going to be doing a lot of handling, and if you get a little bit too fidgety with this, because the pegs are not super long, this may this may want to jump off. And I kind of like him. I actually kind of like him without the shoulder forearm. Like, he needs to lighten his load, kind of like in Dragon Ball. He's got to lighten his load a little bit so that he can maximize his speed. But he looks pretty good with this. He is very impressive. I am loving this figure so far. Let's get into his articulation. The Gatekeeper has articulation at the neck. Not a whole lot of tilt, but I think that's probably because of the way the helmet is constructed. It is on both a ball socket as well as a hinge, so you can get some upward motion there. You can look up to check out his surroundings. And it comes down. It comes down a pretty decent amount, so you can look around and see what's going on down there. The shoulders. Now, again, because this is a Four Horsemen style construction, the shoulders have the full hinge and rotation, and because the pauldrons can be moved around, you don't have to worry about those interfering with the articulation. So this can go completely around and not be hindered by the shoulder armor, which is much appreciated. You also have your hinge and socket at the elbow. There is no double elbows, but there is no need for it because this does the job pretty well. And you have your articulation at the wrist. He has a ball socket at the waist for some really good hip action there. And at the thighs, he has a ball socket to allow for a pretty wide range of movement. Still get some really decent range of motion out of the hip there. Comes out, he can do almost a full standing split, which is really nice. There is a thigh cut. I am always worried about breaking these in. Mine feels a little tight. I am not going to force that because I don't want to be sad on this review. Let's see about this one. I don't know if you can hear the creaking. That always unnerves me. I'm going to leave mine alone. This might be something that requires a little bit of hairdryer action, or maybe a hot water bath to really kind of loosen this up. So I don't know if I'm dealing with paint lock, or if the assembly line, maybe, I don't think they're welded together. I can still feel a little bit of give, but I'm not going to force it and twist off the leg of the Kickstarter exclusive. That won't be fun. Socket at the knee for full hinge as well as some swivel. It's got a little bit of a twist here. And you have a full hinge plus rocker at the ankle, making these very nicely articulated figures. I will warn that the ankle joint feels a little bit loose on mine. Just a little dab of future polish will probably take care of that. But just be aware that on your figure, give it a once over and see how the joints are holding up. Overall, I'm very happy with the way that these have turned out. Whenever I get a figure off of Kickstarter and I start kind of wondering, like, if I don't get the full line where I can display them all by themselves, who I can kind of mix them in with. So without further ado, let's mix them in with G.I. Joe. He's a little bit bigger, and that makes sense. But as an alien creature appearing in the G.I. Joe universe, I kind of like this comparison. And the aesthetic actually isn't all that bad. They're kind of close. Hanging out with Hordak on Etheria. Actually looks pretty good with Colossus. I kind of like this. Oh, that is a good pairing. I kind of like that. And now I kind of wish that this glowed in the dark. But then I want that for every toy line. There are glow-in-the-dark figures for Legendari, which I did not find out until a couple of months ago. And at some point, I am going to have to get them. Or at least the head packs. I believe the head packs glow in the dark. And your Battle Catman. I do kind of wish that there were more animal-style characters in Legendari. But again, just like my glow-in-the-dark and clear plastic preferences, I always want more animals in a toy line. This character would probably fit in really well in Fortnite. That's not bad. I actually kind of like that. So, at the end of the day, the Metatravelers Legendari Gatekeeper is fantastic. I was expecting great things just looking at the Kickstarter and getting an overall idea of what the figures were going to be like, and they really delivered on the product. I wish that I was able to get more than just the Gatekeeper. However, I absolutely intend to get more because these look great. The sculpt work alone, the articulation is really, really good. The color scheme looks really nice, and again, the parts reuse across the line looks really good, and it makes for a whole lot of really interesting, really unique characters. I know that this is the Kickstarter exclusive, so I don't know what the aftermarket on this guy will be, but you've got 14 some odd other characters that you can go to Metatraveler's website right now and go take a look at. There's a lot of really interesting, really cool looking characters out there. So I recommend going and taking a look and picking them up. Like I said, they are a little bit pricey, but that is kind of to be expected for a small toy company. This is their first wave of figures, but it's a pretty darn big wave and you get a lot. I recommend going out and getting a look at these. So I hope you have enjoyed this review. If you have, please leave the video a like, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell because YouTube never wants to let you know when I am putting out new videos. And until next time, take care.